Well, obviously, there's no way to prepare for how it's going to play out. You just have to play the games and see what comes of it. With the schedule being what it is, the travel being what it is, if you said you're going to win all 5 games, I would say, well, yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised that we won all 5 games. I mean, that's kind of what we're set up to do. I'm not surprised that as the games have gone on, it's gotten increasingly more difficult to stay up and to be mentally sharp, offensively, to be in a good rhythm because everybody's on the same page right now. Mentally we're not all on the same page. People are at a different place, mentally, depending on how they feel, and that affects you on the offensive end mostly. I mean, you can always improve. You can get better at certain things. I don't know that we can get significantly better, maybe we get better at making better decisions, which will give us an opportunity to get more shots. I think scoring points is going to be, more difficult as we move along, unless we get a couple shooters back into the lineup, because we don't bring anybody off the bench that's a scorer, pretty much. So, you have to have big games from people like Lou did in Tennessee, Dorka tonight. You have to hope that there's 1 or 2 players that have it that night, and you can kind of, ride that wave that they have. But other than that, we can't practice enough to get better. Can't spend enough time at practice to get better. In order to have, the kind of game that you're capable of having in Nika's case, you need 4 other people to help you. All those 14, 15 assist games, they were fun when Caroline and Azzi were on the receiving end of a lot of these passes. So you get a little bit mentally fatigued because she exerts so much energy on the defensive end as well, and we don't have the ability to help her ball handling wise, so she's got to do all that, and it's not surprising that she'll go through those spells where it catches up to her, and I just want her to keep shooting the ball well, because that'll make up for a bunch of things. Mostly fouls are mental. You make mental mistakes and you foul. Right? You end up being in a bad spot. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you commit fouls that then put you on the bench, and then you have no rhythm. You can't establish it. Then you come in and get your third, and it's like you can't get out of the starting blocks. And that's, for a team that is missing a bunch of scores, having Aaliyah on the bench, that's even, that's even more, now what are we going to do? And Lou, you can see Lou's shot. Lou looks like she's lost about 15 pounds in the last 10 days. She's getting the Diana Taurasi treatment out there. She gets fouled on every possession, and the officials today were content to just let it go the way it goes.
Dorka's 8th double-double. What did you see from her from this stretch of games that really impressed you?
She's trying really hard. Her effort is really, really good. She goes and rebounds the ball over here, over there, and over there. Doesn't stand there and wait for a rebound to come to her. And she's much more patient in the lane on the offensive end and giving herself more opportunities, finishing better. And I think her confidence is really, really high right now because she's playing well and she's somewhat healthy considering. And, she's playing like someone her age needs to play, who's played enough basketball to know. That's what you hope when you have someone her age who's played that much basketball, can figure that out. She's not like this, like a young player. I talked to Stewie 2 days ago, I guess it was, and she feels like it's a chapter of her life that's closed, it's over, and she's starting a new one. As the elder statesman, she was the young kid, and Sue was her mentor, and now she gets a chance to do that closer to home in New York, closer to Spain. When you got to fly over there with her family. And she's got a pretty damn good group around her, Steph and Jonquel Jones and Sabrina and God knows who else. But, I'm excited for her. I get to see her more often, so that's a plus.